Hey bag maker, today I'm going to be talking about a simple tool that makes installing magnetic snaps so much easier, various fabrics that I've added to my stash. The book review will be for a book called Patchwork t-shirt quilts. I'll be showing some brand new zipper tape colors and new zipper pulls that I've added to the shop, and there's a great giveaway at the end. I'm Sarah Lawson from Sew Sweetness. Thanks so much for joining me for Sewcial Sunday, my weekly sewing chat. Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in to Sewcial Sunday. I'm so grateful that you've made time in your day to tune in for the show, whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording of the show later on in your week. I see Sue is watching the show. Vanessa, hey Vanessa. Kristen's watching from Michigan, and Dalva and Donna are also tuning in live for this show. So welcome everyone. A couple of reminders before I get started. My usual spam reminder, first of all, if you're watching on Facebook and you receive a private message from an avatar that appears to be Sew Sweetness, sometimes asking for information like your telephone number, credit card, to transfer money in exchange for a prize, please report and or block that. I never send private messages over Facebook, and if you're watching over on YouTube and you've left a comment and you see that there's a reply to your comment and it looks like, again, a Sew Sweetness avatar asking for you to call a number, send money, anything of the sort, please report or block that. I always announce the winner's name of the giveaway live on the show, and I also have the winner's name entered into the description of the show as well. And also, everything that I talk about during Sewcial Sunday are things that I've purchased myself. So these are not things that I'm getting paid to talk to you about, but just cool things that I found that I'd like to share with you. And everything that I'm scheduled to talk about, I link to in the description. So if you're interested in finding out more about any of the books, fabrics, notions, or projects that I talk about during Sewcial Sunday, just check that link in the description and you can find out more information there. So my favorite topic of Sewcial Sunday, the notion of the week. This was actually a suggestion emailed to me a couple weeks ago by Natasha, and I thought it was brilliant, a really easy tool to make installing magnetic snaps easier. And I really, by the way, I really appreciate any suggestions that you email to me for either books, notions, fabrics, or so on, and this is just one of those recommendations. So Danny's going to switch over to the overhead camera so that I can show you what this tool looks like. It's actually a brad setter, and while it's not specifically for sewing, it does serve a sewing purpose. So this particular one has kind of a short looking awl on one end. This is helpful if you need to make a hole in your fabric for something. I use an awl once in a while. I don't use it a huge amount. And also you've noticed that this tool is not perfectly round, so it doesn't roll off your desk, which is helpful. And this is the actual brad setter part. So if you'll notice on top and bottom, first off, it kind of looks like a triangle, and there's sort of a cutout over here on this side, and also, thanks Danny, also on this side as well. And this cutout kind of helps guide the prongs for the magnetic snap so they don't slip off the tool. Okay, Danny could zoom out just a little bit. So I've got a piece of foam interfacing here. Obviously you'll have fabric attached to this, but I just wanted to put something quick together, so I grabbed a scrap of foam interfacing. I already installed the snap before the show just to try it out. It was super easy. So I'm gonna install a magnetic snap, and I'm going to use that brad setter to open the prongs outward. So what I've done in the past is normally leaned the prongs against either an ironing board or a plastic table, something that won't get ruined, and just kind of leaned it on the corner of a table. I'm really grateful to have this brad setter because this is a lot easier. Now I don't have to worry about damaging whatever I'm leaning the metal prongs against, and very easy. I've also kind of tried to use my fingers in the past, and it does hurt your fingers if you try to do it with just your fingers. So I'm just going to take my friction tool, and I've marked the placement for the prongs. I'm going to use my seam ripper to make small slits through the foam interfacing. And again, if you're using this method for a bag, you'll actually have your fabric attached to your chosen interfacing first. So I'm just going to go ahead and insert the prong through the slits, and then if your magnetic snaps came with washers, you can add the washers. If it doesn't, that's completely fine too. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of center this portion in the middle, and I'm just going to lean it to the side. Super easy, didn't take very much hand strength. There you go. Actually, I was, for that second one, I was pushing thinking that it hadn't folded over and it was already finished. So I was applying much more pressure than was actually needed. So super easy. Definitely will be adding this to my stash for regular use. And if you're interested in the link to this brad setter, it is in the description. And thanks so much for this Notion recommendation. This was really neat. So Violet yesterday decided she wanted to make some friendship bracelets. I remember making friendship bracelets as a kid, but it's been a really long time. So we watched a couple of YouTube videos, and I got mine started. This was actually probably at least a half hour of work, even though it looks very small. Danny's going to switch to the overhead camera. I decided just to go with the simple, you know, line straight across. I kind of doubled up on my colors. We watched this great YouTube channel called Masha Knots, and she demonstrated how to start the flosses in a different manner than I've done in the past. In the past, I've kind of had a knot, and the threads kind of increase from the knot going outward, but the kind of beginning always looked a little funny to me. So I was glad to try out a different method. And as a kid, I remember taking a piece of cardboard or something like that and just using taping it to it. I actually have a magnetic board and a booklet that I use for my cross stitch, so I just kind of attached my threads that way. But it was really fun to make, and I like that Violet's interested in different crafts that we can make together, and we work on things like this in the evening when we're watching TV in bed. So hopefully I can finish this week. I don't think I'll need to make it too long, but it was really fun. I like making little projects with my daughter, but I've linked to Masha Knott's YouTube channel in the description in case you're interested. She has lots of different bracelet designs, different starting and finishing methods. So check out her YouTube channel in case you're interested in a fun little project to make over the summer. So I have a question for you. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite gift to make for a friend? It can be a sewing gift. It can be maybe baked goods that you kind of have as a go-to for making gifts for friends. Let me know in the comments what you like to make as a gift, not necessarily for a birthday or holiday, maybe just a just because gift. Let me know in the comments what your go-to gift is. So various fabrics that I've added to my stash this week are kind of rainbow themed. I'm going to have Danny switch to the overhead camera. So the first two fabrics are just sort of one-offs that I picked up. This first one is from Ruby Star Society, and I just liked the hand-stamped look of this. This is like a really dark background, not quite black, not quite navy, maybe a little bit in between. I thought this was really neat for a medium to large size bag. And then the second one I picked up was from Alexander Henry. It's called Great Wave, and the print just really drew me in. So these first two are linked to in the description. And then this last stack of fabrics is from Shelley Davies, and the fabric line is Color Collage 2. So I've purchased some of these fabrics from the previous Color Collage in the past, and these fabrics really remind me of like I Spy fabrics. When my kids were little, we used to take out the I Spy books from the library, and I'd choose really hard ones. Like I wouldn't pick easy ones. Even when my kids were little, we'd go through the most difficult ones. Sometimes we'd stay on a page for like a half an hour, but it was really fun to go through those I Spy books with my kids, and there's so many different ones available. Christmas ones, vacation, all sorts of different themes. So this particular fabric has sort of an earth theme, so it's all things outside, like the shell, postcard from a trip, stamps over here. And then most of the other ones are just color themes, like this purple one, all different purple color words and different purple items. Water, everything on here is water related. just really super neat. I think it would be great for either pouches or small projects, or even like features in a quilt block. So this particular one is all of the colors in a single fabric. So let me flip it over. So as you can see, green, blue, purple, everything's represented. So if you were to get one, if you liked these fabrics but only wanted to get one, maybe this with all the rainbow colors in it, so you would have a little sampling of all the different colors. Here's the pink one. Really graphic. I like that there's so many details in the different fabrics. I've got a few more left. Here's my yellow one over here. Here's the red. And then orange. And then there's even a black and white one over here. This one has a lot of animals in it, actually. All right, so these are all fabrics from Color Collage 2, and I've linked to all of the fabrics in the description in case you're interested in checking out any of them after the show. So I have another question for you. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite color? As a kid, my favorite color was green. Now as an adult, I find that I use like a lot of turquoise, pink. As a kid, I hated pink, but like I like using pink in things now, purple. So I guess a variety of colors. I still do enjoy green, but I find that I use it less in projects than other colors like turquoise. So let me know in the comments what your favorite color is. A few reminders, the May challenge is still underway. I've linked to that in the description. Your challenge for this month is either to make any So Sweetness bag that you would like to use for travel, maybe the Cavalcade travel bag, the airplane bag, maybe you're making a pouch specifically for travel. The second option for the May challenge is to make the Enigma pouch from Minikin Season 4. Speaking of the Enigma pouch Sew Along is also underway this month. We've wrapped up week 1 of the Sew Along, and we are now on to weeks 2 and 3. So for week 2, I guess topic for that was to assemble the pouch through attaching the side panels to the zippers, and then week 3 is our final week finishing the pouch. You have until June 3rd to finish your pouch and post a photo on my blog post. You can still post your photo for week 2, so week 2 and 3 are open, and I've linked to both of those in the description. And if you need help uploading your photo for week 2 or week 3, you can feel free to email your photo to sarah@sewsweetness.com, and either myself or Bronwyn will upload that photo for you. And congratulations to week number 1's winner. That was number 27, entry number 27, Wendy. So congratulations to you, Wendy. All right, so the book review for this week is a book called Patchwork T-Shirt Quilts. I think these are really interesting, especially since I've been saving up some of my kids' clothes from when they were little. So this book came out recently, and I thought I would share it with you on the show. So the first section of the book, as always, is different techniques to work on the projects, including, which I thought was super important, stabilizing t-shirts, cutting them up, and using them for different blocks in your quilt, and even combining different t-shirts together, like was done over here to make this square for some quilt blocks. So there's a variety of different projects in the book. Some bags, pillows, and also, of course, the quilts. So this bag makes use of a few different shirts, as you can see, with the different stripes at the bottom, and you can also, of course, incorporate some fabrics as well. This pillow, it's listed as a dorm pillow, which I thought is a great idea for a graduate to take to college with them. All you need is just the one shirt, and then you can fill in the rest with fabrics coordinating to the school's colors, which I thought was really interesting. And then the quilts range in sizes. So this particular one's a wall hanging made with 4 different t-shirts. That was really clever. I have several band t-shirts. This is a great idea. This particular quilt is made with character themed t-shirts and also some quilt blocks kind of to coordinate to pull everything together. This is just a small wall hanging. Great idea to use little scraps and small portions of shirts. And then here's some of the quilts. They range in sizes, and some of them also have additional quilt blocks worked in with the t-shirts. This is a bag. I thought the bag looked great and the construction looked really great as well. And then here's some more quilts. So I think the nice thing about the t-shirt quilts is being able to tie in memories of different either events, maybe family gatherings, maybe if you have like a t-shirt for a family reunion, different trips you've gone on, concerts, school themed t-shirts. So I think there's a lot of different options in this book, and not just plain old blocks upon blocks. And this particular quilt was made with different onesies and t-shirts, so on the small side. Love this one, and I think this is probably the one I'll use to make a quilt one day from some of my kids' onesies and some of their little t-shirts and outfits from when they were kids. So again, the book is called Patchwork T-Shirt Quilts. I've linked to it in the description, and I actually, in fact, happened to purchase 2 of these by mistake, so one of these will be included at the end of the show with the giveaway, the rest of the giveaway prizes. All right, Danny's favorite part of the Sunday show. We'd like to invite all of the bag makers to stand proud. Let us know in the comments that you're part of the Sew Sweetness squad. Danny and I are both super grateful that you've tuned into Sewcial Sunday, and thank you so much for watching. So I have been busy adding new zipper tapes to the shop, and I decided to start incorporating different coil colors. So previously we had different zipper tapes with silver coil, and I wanted to slowly start incorporating more coils, and so I have some gunmetal coil and also antique brass coil. We had a few colors previously that I added different coil colors to, so Danny's going to flip to the overhead camera. It's actually a lot of zipper tapes, so I'm going to go through all of these I guess one by one. So this is a color we had previously called Arsenic. We had it in the silver coil. Now we have it in the antique brass and also the gunmetal. Just fair warning, the 2 new coil colors, which are these 2 over here, the shade of green is like a slight tinge darker green. And that's also noted in the product listing, just in case you've purchased the silver coil in the past. And then we also had the wisteria in the past. This is the wisteria color. We had it in the silver coil, and now we have it in the 2 other coil options. By the way, we have the zipper tapes in the shop in 1 yard cuts, 3 yards, and 5 yards. And all of the tape that I'm showing tonight is also number 5 zipper tape. And then this color we also had in the past, the salamander. So those 3 colors are colors we previously had, and these are all the new colors. So this one is my favorite. This is the ultra pink. As you can see by the name, it is ultra and it is pink. I feel like this particular one will look great with a lot of the Tula pink fabrics. Any pink, of course, will go great with some Tula. This one I wanted to have sort of a pinkish hue, but a lighter color. So this one we called Ballet in the shop. And let me grab some. I pulled some Tula pink fabrics. Obviously, I couldn't bring my whole stash of Tula up here, but I thought this looked great with the new Hippo fabric that's included in Tula's Everglow fabric line. All right, some of these names I feel like I might forget. This one's called Jam. This one I actually chose to go with Tula's fabric that's coming out in July. Nightshade Deja Vu. I thought this would look great with the main print. This one I called Lizard. This one also I think will go great with Tula's July fabrics. And I also thought it would look great with, I pulled 2 of the Everglow prints. I think this green looks great with the green in the leaves. And I guess same thing with the other elephant print, the purple colorway. All right, let me pause from going through zipper tapes to show some of the new zipper pulls. So we had some requests for more number 3 pulls, so I ordered these these two styles. These are both number 3, and of course in all 6 of the colors that we have as far as the hardware goes. So the number 3 zipper tape is not as much used as the number 5. In my patterns, a lot of the patterns call for handbag zippers, which the number 5 applies to, but I wanted to have a couple more options for number 3 pulls, so I've added these to the shop. In particular, I really like this one a lot. I like the shape. I like that it's thinner with the holes in it. And then, let's see, with summer coming up, I chose this really fun ice cream zipper pull. And then this one, this is sort of like a geometric unicorn head. And then 2 more basics. I really like the basics. The basic pulls sell really well in the shop, and this one sort of has like a kind of like a hinged D-ring over here on the end. This one's Danny's favorite. This is actually not a working, is carabiner, Danny, the right word? Okay, this is actually not a working carabiner. This is just decorative, meaning it won't open and close, but nonetheless, I thought it was a really fun looking zipper pull. Okay, so that's it for the zipper pulls. Let me pull out some more of the tape. Let's see. This one's sort of a pale blue. This one's called Powder. I've got, this one's, I guess, sort of a lighter teal, but a little bit darker than the Powder. This one's called Celeste. On camera, I think they're looking pretty close, but in person, this one's definitely the darker of the 2 colors. This one, I think I called this one Petal. It's sort of a pale pink. We had the charcoal before with the silver coil, but we also brought the charcoal tape in with the gunmetal and the antique brass coil. 2 more after this one. This one's called Flamingo, so again, another bright color. 2 more. I thought this bittersweet color looked really great with the Tula Pink lion print. Unfortunately, we're out of this fabric, but if you manage to snag yourself some, I think this zipper color looks really great with the fabric. And also, I think one of the new Tula Pink Deja Vu fabrics has a shade similar to this, if I'm going correctly off memory. And then this last one, love this bright blue. This one I called this one I called Pacific. So all of the new zipper tapes and the zipper pulls are in the What's New section of our shop, and I've linked to that in the description. So the What's New section is basically a rotating list of the newest items that I've added to the shop. So if you are purchasing something else and you want to find out what's new, you can always check that What's New section, and it'll always be rotating with all of the newest items. All right, so I'm going to be answering some questions live in just a minute. So if you have a question for me, you can type it into the comments at any time. It can be a bag making question, question about a notion or tool, general sewing question, maybe you have a question about something regarding my sewing history. Feel free to type your question in the comments, and Danny will be on the lookout for your questions, and I'll answer as many as I can live. Before I get over to the questions, I wanted to announce the winner of last week's giveaway, and that winner is Gail Folaron. I hope that I pronounced that correctly. Congratulations to you, Gail. Please email me after the show so that I can get you connected with your prize. Danny's going to put my email address up on the screen. It's sarah@sewsweetness.com, and if you ever have a question for me, maybe you're working on one of my patterns or have a specific sewing question, you can email your question as well. All right, Danny, take it away on the questions. Jennifer says, did they use the knit shirts to make the blocks too? Yes, in that book that I showed, these are all made using t-shirts. Well, I shouldn't say, I should say some of the blocks, like for this cover quilt, I'm assuming these blocks were the t-shirts, and then the pieced quilt blocks over here, perhaps they used quilting cotton for that. It looks like they used a mixture of the the t-shirts, which would be the knits, and then the solids, quilting cottons. Linda says, we are grateful for both you and Danny. Thank you very much, Linda. I really appreciate that. Kathy says, are you currently working on a quilt? I am. I feel like these days it's slow going because I'm also spending 30 minutes to an hour in my garden every day. At this point, it's mostly pulling weeds, but I'm occasionally planting things also. I guess I'll have Danny switch to the overhead camera. This is the quilt that I'm working on right now. It's called Hello Spring from Pen and Paper Patterns. I'm working on, this pattern has 3 different options. I'm working on this option. It's ladybugs and flowers. So that's what I'm working on. I actually decided to go with this almost the same fabric colors as the cover quilt. And right now I'm working on the ladybugs. So I've got like partial ladybug bodies over here, and my next step is to work on the antennas, which is like the heads of the ladybugs. So making some progress, but it's a little bit slow going. Because I cut everything out, I was planning on sewing some outside. I didn't get a chance to sew outside this weekend, but hoping to sew maybe outside during the week. All right, Danny, you could switch back to the front camera. Thank you. Michelle says, can you use cork for the interior of a bag? That's a good question. I don't know that I've seen cork used for the lining. I might have seen a small bit of cork used for maybe if someone had a zipper overlay, something like that, like in the lining. If you have used cork for your lining fabric, let me know in the comments. Danny will try to look out for that if you're watching live. Hopefully we can get that posted on the screen. Randy says, Sarah, do you have any opinions on pinking shears? I do. I'm trying to see if they're within easy grasp. I have a couple pinking shears. I have the Fisker's pinking shears. I think I have some LDH pinking shears. I like those. And I'm trying to think if I had some Kai pinking shears. I cannot remember. But I do know I liked the LDH ones a lot. Melissa says, how do you store your rulers? I am reorganizing and need a new way. I have a few options. I'm trying to think of the name of it. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but I reviewed 1 or 2 projects on the show for storing cutting mats and rulers. They're actually under my table right now. Feel free to email me after the show. I'll have to look into that. We do have a Pinterest board where we keep different boards for like notions that I've talked about on Sewcial Sunday, fabrics and books that I've talked about on Sewcial Sunday. And I will definitely have to consult the Pinterest board for my ruler and cutting mat storage. Elaine says, can I use number 5 zipper on the Kismet trinket box? Off the top of my head, you can. I think you'll just need to make I don't remember what I called it, I might have called it a zipper tab. I think you'll just possibly need to make that zipper tab a little bit wider. By your question, I'm assuming that in my pattern it was for number 3 zippers, which kind of makes sense in my head. So yeah, I'm assuming you'll just need to make that zipper tab just a little bit wider to be the same width as the zipper tape. Diana says, have you ever thought about getting some number 5 flamingo zipper pulls? I actually have those on order. But I just ordered them, so it'll probably be a few months. That's just how long it takes to get it in stock. But I will have flamingo zipper pulls possibly before the end of the summer. Grace says, will you get gold zipper tape as well? We do have currently the black tape and the white tape with light gold coil, if that's what you're looking for. I'm open to expanding the colored zipper tapes with the light gold coil in the future. I guess I wanted to see how the gunmetal and the antique brass did before we brought on new coils, just because I guess it would be really easy for me to go crazy and just like order all the colors, but I'm kind of trying to dip my toes in to see what sells. I would say between hardware colors and zipper pull colors, definitely the rose gold is the lowest seller. So if I do bring in rose gold in the future, that would probably be the last one, just based on past sales of the hardware. Christine says, I've used cork as the front of interior pockets. Oh, good to know. Thanks for that comment to that earlier question, Christine. I noticed that you partnered to make some fabrics in the past, just picked up a couple yards on Etsy. Just wondering if you have any plans to create or collaborate on any more fabric. That's a good question. So it was, I don't know how many years ago. It's got to be at least over 7 years ago. I designed 2 lines of fabric with Art Gallery Fabrics. The first line was called Jungle Avenue and the second line was called Fantasia. The second line had like unicorns and it was like a fantasy theme. I don't have plans to design any more fabric because I felt like I was just sort of like average at designing fabric, and I feel like I'm better at designing sewing patterns. So for now, I'm going to stick with the sewing patterns, but it was definitely a great experience designing those 2 lines of fabrics. Corey says, I used number 5 zippers on my Kismet bags. They work out perfectly with no modifications. Oh, thank you so much, Corey. Thanks for that mention as far as changing the zipper tape number for the Kismet trinket boxes. Debbie says, can fabric with Odie coat go in the washing machine? I don't recall off the top of my head. I'm assuming yes, but I'll need to check my little jar of Odie coat. If you're watching and you have that information handy, feel free to leave a comment on the show if you're watching live. Danny will try to look out for that and post it on the screen. Soap and Girl says, what are your thoughts on printed fabric? Does the design last as long as the regular fabric? That's a good question. I'm assuming you mean printed fabric, maybe quilting cotton versus like a solid, like maybe a Kona solid, which is also quilting cotton. I haven't noticed really problems with fading, and for a lot of years before we moved over to this house, I kept my fabric on the first floor, which it was exposed to light. I haven't particularly noticed a problem with fading, although I recognize that it's always a possibility. And I guess as far as the solids go, it might depend on the color of the solid and also the manufacturer. Maybe it's a cheaper solid color. Those might be prone to fading. As far as solids go, I do like the Kona solids from Robert Kaufman. I like the Free Spirit solids. Of course, Tula has her signature solids with Free Spirit, and Art Gallery solids are great too. Actually, all the big fabric manufacturers have good quality solids in my opinion. Courtney says, have you ever used RFDI fabric in bags? Traveling soon and wanting to make a bag but want some protection, maybe not necessary. So I have not done extensive research on the RFDI fabric. If you're not familiar with that, the fabric is supposed to block like credit card scanners. From what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, most of the current credit cards use a chip, which I'm not sure if the scanners pick up the information from your credit cards if they have a chip only. If you have more information on that, though, let me know in the comments. But in short, my answer is no, I have not ever used the RFDI fabrics in a project. Marion says, your zipper tapes and pulls are such a good quality. I am always impressed when I get my order. They are so nice. Thank you very much for that feedback, Marion. I really appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully I'll be adding some new colors for the number 5 tapes in the future too. Cindy says, sewing with cork for the first time, making the Baker Street bag, really struggling with the stitches and tension. What do you do? Some success finally with tension of 9 and a stitch length of 4.5. So the tension and the stitch length may vary by machine, and it also will definitely vary depending on what fabric that you're using, and also not only the fabric by itself, but the fabric combination with the particular interfacing that you're using. I'm assuming you're using foam interfacing since that's what was called for in the pattern. I usually do recommend taking a little bit of scrap fabric before you start with your project, or if you're having difficulty, layering up the fabric in a similar combination to what you'll see in the pattern. So for instance, if you're having trouble with skip stitches or your tension when you're trying to sew through, say, 2 layers of foam and 2 layers of fabric, maybe cut scraps of 2 layers of fabric and 2 layers of foam and try to adjust your tension sewing through all that, because that'll be a similar thickness to what you'll be sewing through with the bag. If you need additional help, you can always either email me or you can also ask in our Facebook group. I admit I'm not a sewing machine expert, but a lot of people in our Facebook group are, so chances are someone will know the answer to specific questions like that. But again, you can feel free to email me if you need help as well. Mary Jo says, anyone know how to get rid of the Lycra pokies along seam lines of pants? I don't have experience sewing with Lycra. I know there's people watching live that do, so let me know in the comments if you have an answer to that question so that we can get it posted on the screen. Lisa says, do you wash and dry your fabric before sewing? So this depends. If you or the user of the finished bag will be washing maybe frequently the bag, maybe they want to put it in the dryer as well. Again, depending on what the fabric is, because some fabrics really shouldn't be going in the dryer, things that would melt. It's not a bad idea to pre-wash your fabric in the same manner that you would expect to wash the finished bag. Maybe on cold in the washing machine, maybe putting it in the dryer. I admit I don't often pre-wash my fabric just because first off, I'm generally making a lot of bags. I'm usually using high quality quilt chop fabric, which based on tests I've done in the past has very, very minimal shrinkage. But if you are ever unsure of, for instance, where you've gotten the fabric from, what kind of quality is, it's never a bad idea to pre-wash, and then you're covered. Debbie says, found on my bottle. Thank you, Debbie. Debbie says, yes, Odie coat can be laundered. Thank you. I really appreciate you, Debbie. Thank you. Sheila says, how do you set up for sewing outside? So I haven't tackled that yet. I have seen on social media a lot of people like to sew outside, or maybe they go on vacation in their camper and they bring their sewing machine with. My plan was to cut out all the fabric indoors. For the quilt I'm working on, I have all my pieces labeled with the letter from the sewing pattern. I use these Alpha Biddies. We have these in the shop as well, and I just clipped the letter with a Wonder Clip on my fabrics. So I pre-cut all my fabrics inside, and I was planning on bringing the minimal amount of things outside. I wasn't sure. I have heard from emails I've received lately from my last newsletter that people bring maybe a small wool mat and a small iron outside in addition to the sewing machine. I think I was planning on bringing maybe just a cutting mat and a seam roller and just rolling the seams instead of using my iron. And then I had a lot of tips, helpful tips based on my comment in my last newsletter about sewing outside to sew under an umbrella, things like that. Check mark for that because I have an umbrella in my table outside. I was just planning on setting up under the umbrella, sewing machine, cutting mat, seam roller, and then just have my fabrics all clipped together so that there's no chance of anything blowing away. So I might chain piece also. I might just wait to press everything once I get inside, depending on how much work I feel like doing or how far along I get with the quilt blocks. But if you have any other tips for sewing outside, let me know in the comments. Elaine, I put my zippers on loose leaf binder rings through the tab and then hang on a pegboard. Oh, that's a really good idea. I like that. That's in regards to zipper organization, I'm assuming. Marie says, what is your favorite way to baste a quilt? So in the past, I would say the very earliest quilts, I used basting spray. I think I used the June Taylor basting spray. I probably would use that today. I've never pin basted a quilt. I would like to learn or have a chance to do that. I have a whole stack of quilt tops waiting to be quilted, so very far behind on the quilting process. Angela says, do you quilt any of your tops you make, or do you have someone do it? I would say these days I probably have someone do it, and I'm definitely not a picky customer as far as long arm quilting, so I usually just tell the long armor, you choose the design, you choose the thread color. I'm good with whatever you choose, and I always am good. I've had some custom work done in the past, but I don't mind like an all over computerized design as well. I have machine quilted a lot of quilts on my Juki also. I don't know. Bags are calling me for a lot of the sewing time, so that's why I send things out once in a while. Gail says, the Enigma calls for a 24-inch zipper. However, if you use zipper by the yard, how much longer should you cut it? So I I would definitely always recommend with a project, especially if you're using zipper by the yard, to wait to cut the zipper by the yard until you're at that particular step in the pattern, because often I'm giving a supply for a number that you would see in a store-bought zipper, such as like 24 inches, 30 inches, 40 inches. Those are nice even numbers that are easily accessible at your local quilt shop. But if you wait until that step in the pattern to cut, you can be a little bit more frugal about it and save on the extra zipper tape. So for an example, I might call for a 24-inch zipper, but in the end, you might only use, I'm just pulling this number out of my hat, 21.5 inches. So you'll be saving yourself a little bit of zipper tape if you wait until that step in the pattern. And to be honest, I don't see any harm in waiting, as long as you know you have at least the 24 inches, and then wait until you reach that relevant step in the pattern and then just cut exactly what you need. Cindy says, I'm wondering if you might know the name of the stuff that people sew quilt fabric in to keep the colors from bleeding. I actually don't. I have a feeling, because all of you dear viewers are very helpful, I'm assuming someone watching live might know the name of this. If you do, go ahead and drop a comment on the show, and Danny will keep an eye out for that. Lori says, do you own scissors that are worth keeping and resharpening? I am constantly replacing scissors and would love a recommendation on a good pair. Sure, I'm going to have Danny actually switch to the overhead camera. These are the scissors I've had. I think I've had these for 10 years now. These are Kai model number 7205. Danny, could you zoom in just to get the model number on screen? I love these scissors. I love the, I don't know if this is rubberized on the handles, but it just feels really easy in my hands. And can you zoom out just a little bit, Danny? I guess my struggle with other types of scissors, sewing scissors, is like opening and closing. Like this motion in scissors that are not smooth really kind of tenses and wearies my muscles in my hands, like this motion open and close. I haven't had that experience with these scissors because they're just so smooth, and I have had these scissors sharpened one time. They're still super sharp. By the way, if you need a sharpening service, I highly recommend the website simplysharper.com. You can send in your scissors to be sharpened. I think they do knives also. Basically, you send in your items, they sharpen them, and they send them back to you. Lori Lynn's, oh, that I answered that one already. What color zipper tape do you recommend we use with the blue hippo fabric you have for sale? It's so hard to tell what color to use when looking at the computer. Let me see if I have. Here's the hippo fabric. Danny, if you wouldn't mind switching to the overhead. I'll just grab this one. I really like this is the Celeste zipper. What do you think? No? Danny's saying no. How about, you like the lighter one, Danny? Yeah. This is the powder zipper on the left over here. This is the one Danny likes, and I actually like this one with it. Also, let me pull out this one's a little bit more green. Yeah. This one, that's the one. Yeah, this is the one. I would suggest this is the arsenic zipper. This one's a little bit more on the blue side. So is this one. And just keep in mind that
What about that pink one you just got? The flamingo, whatever.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Keep in mind that in the arsenic, the gunmetal and the antique brass are a slight more shade of green than the silver coil. The silver coil looks really great with it. Danny's suggesting one of the pink ones.
Look at the selvage. It's got the color to match.
Yeah, that's true.
No, it's more orange.
I don't know. Maybe... I kind of like this one the best. This is the arsenic with the silver coil. Yeah, that one looks pretty good. Tony says, where can you purchase your fabric? That's a good question. It's been out of print for so many years. You might be able to find some on Etsy. Yeah, I wish I knew a better source. I would say Etsy would be my first try, maybe eBay. I don't know. Zena says, is the Baker Street purse a good beginner bag to make? Yes, definitely. So the Baker Street bag is a free pattern. It also comes with a free video, and I definitely recommend that for a first bag. Nancy says, I love the horse zipper pulls. Bought some of every horse design. Thank you so much, Nancy. I appreciate that. I have some more horse-themed zipper pulls coming later this summer also. Corey says, gray would look good also. Oh, yes, the charcoal. Yes, the charcoal definitely looks good with this hippo fabric. Thanks, Corey. That didn't even pop into my mind, but it definitely looks really good. All right, are you calling in on the questions? I apologize if I did not get to your question live, but I will be back again next Sunday. Danny will be joining me on next Sunday's show, so stay tuned for that. I also wanted to mention a reminder. We will be having shows through June 4th. June 4th will be our last Sewcial Sunday show. We'll be taking a summer break, our usual summer break, and then we'll be back again August 27th. So we still have 2 more live shows before the summer break. The only thing we're taking a break from is the live shows. We'll still be answering emails, shipping orders, everything as usual, just a break from the live shows. One more thing to get to is the giveaway for tonight. So the giveaway will be, since I had that extra book, it will be my extra Patchwork t-shirts, quilts, t-shirt quilts book, a packet of soft and stable interfacing, and the Emblem Duffle Bag video and PDF pattern. And earlier today I pulled some of your Emblem Duffle Bag makes, and Danny put together a little slideshow so that we can show you some pictures of some options for the Emblem Duffle Bag. So Augusta made this one in a really great striped fabric. I like how she also added that padded strap holder too. Barb made this one in a great metallic singer themed fabric. I really love this fabric. I love the damask print with the singer. Billy Joe made this Emblem Duffle Bag using a repurposed firefighter uniform, and she added the pockets. I thought that was really great. Pockets from the uniform. Cynthia made this space-themed Star Wars duffel bag. Deb made this really cute turtle bag in really bright colors, bright fun colors. Love the green for the handles and the strap. Marilyn made 23 Emblem duffel bags for, I think it was her son-in-law's staff at the hospital. What a lot of hard work, and what a lot of beautiful bags. And then Rosemary made this Black Panther version of the Emblem duffel bag as well. So in case you're interested in that pattern, I'll link to it in the description. And the prize for this week will include those 3 items: the soft and stable, the book, and the pattern and video. The giveaways are randomly drawn, and you have until the end of the day this Saturday to leave a comment on the show wherever you watch, on Facebook or YouTube. We add all the comments together, and I will announce the winner on next Sunday's show. And I have an extra question for you that you can answer in the comments for an extra method of entry. My question is, what was the last or most recent notion that you purchased? So let me know. Mine would be that Brad setter that I demonstrated at the beginning of the show. Super cool. Can't wait to use it a lot more in future. But anyway, let me know in the comments what was the last notion that you purchased. On behalf of Danny and myself, thank you so much for tuning in to Sewcial Sunday. I hope you have a great week and happy sewing. Bye, everybody.